What's up, you guys? It's your boy Blair through Hollywood Tea, and I am here with the hilarious Terrell Grice. How are you?
I am so good, Blair. I'm so glad to be here with you. I love you. I've been watching you for forever. You are amazing.
Thank you. First of all, I have to say this because I've seen you come up to what you're doing, and it's absolutely just seeing you grow in the last 3 years. It's absolutely crazy. Like, I remember watching your videos. I think you did some with Adrian Bailon. This was so like 3 years ago, but 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was forever ago.
It was back then. And then now it's like, now you're this huge star and you're growing. And I'm just so proud of you because you're still the same Terrell. Like, you have not changed. And I just I'm just telling the people that you are the real deal. And I think something about you that your show is different from a lot of people's because obviously you make people happy, but it's more than that. You bring people joy. And I don't know if you really know the effects that you have on people. And joy is way different than happiness. You really bring a light to people. And not only that, but you just give people so many opportunities. I mean, let's talk about your show real quick because you not only showcase celebrities, you showcase underground talent. And just tell me the importance of just giving people who don't have that recognition just a little time in the limelight.
Yes, that is, first of all, thank you so much. I can't even, you just made me feel so good just now, Blair. Thank you. But yeah, I think it is so important to remind people that within the music industry, you're going to be fed things that these labels and the people that are in charge, they're going to be fed things that they think is going to sell, you know? They think it's going, they just know, they think that they know what you want to hear. And within that process, sometimes they're right, but sometimes some of the real talent gets overlooked for various different reasons. And one day I was like, that's just not fair. I don't like that because I love live music. I'm a live music person. And lots of times when I go to these shows around LA, I just be leaving like, dang, why don't they have a deal? Why aren't they on their 5th album? What's going on here? I would pay money to sit in here and watch this artist perform. What can I do to try to elevate them and make sure that people know that there is some very authentic and very, very overlooked artists out there? And that's how the show kind of took off. That's where it all started, you know? The bigger celebrities started to come after they saw just the power behind what the show did for these underground artists. And they kind of appreciated it, and they're like, yo, I want to get in on that too. So that blessing came later, but the origins of the show is putting a showcase together for artists who don't get the snaps that I think they deserve.
Yeah. Your interview with Zepov was incredible, and I didn't realize how, well, I knew based on your Clark Sisters video and that you grew up with gospel, but I didn't know that you got into R&B not until really high school. So something that you said,
baby.
Yeah. So tell me, who was it that really opened your eyes to more music? I know you said Brandy, but who else really inspired you?
Wow. You know what it was in terms of school, first of all, because at home, baby, it wasn't even just like secular music I couldn't listen to. Even the gospel music that I could listen to was filtered. Like, it had to be the foot stomping, like, traditional gospel. Like, no Mary Mary, rarely some Kirk Franklin. Because, you know, Mary Mary and Kirk Franklin and the contemporary gospels, those could sometimes even sound like R&B. That was also off limits, Blair.
Wow.
Okay, yes. So I was very restricted. But when I got to middle school, you know, you start to have little dances. You start to go out. They let you go out with friends, you know, sometimes. And the first artist that I heard was Brandy. And then after Brandy came Usher. The Confessions album was one of the first like R&B albums that I got to hold in my hand and listen to. And I think actually just those two artists together, and then Beyonce, really was my starting point. And then from there, I had to go back. I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
And then you get into the 90s music and in the 80s. And I discovered Michael Jackson when I was like 13, which is ridiculous. But that's what happened, Blair. Very sheltered childhood.
Listen, it worked out. And, you know, Brandy's album came out last week, or this past week. And I
Brandy's
love
album did come out.
Would you love to have her on your show? Would that be a dream guest?
Absolutely. What? Are you kidding me? But if Brandy sat her behind next to me on this blue wall, it's a wrap. I might be through, honestly. I don't know who's gonna come after that. That might be a bad idea, because how would you follow that up? It is the Brandy, the vocal.
What's about a vocalist? Brandy is a vocalist, okay?
Period. All day.
I have to say this. I love all of your episodes. Amber Riley, oh my gosh, JoJo. You had some icons on your show. But when you had the Clark sisters, when I saw that was like a game changer. It was like content, obviously. Absolutely. A comedy, music, it was everything all in one. And one thing that you said in the interview that always stuck out, I had to go back because I remember you saying it, but I was like, I have to get the direct quote. You said every genre makes sense because of gospel. That right there was a word in itself. Just tell me, expand that.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, I really, because I could only listen to gospel music, I got to listen to a lot of it. And I got to really understand how it started and how it's been sampled, but sampled very, not as obvious as people think of samples, you know, inspired. Gospel music has inspired almost every genre of music, even when you go back as far as like Ray Charles, you know? And I think Ray Charles talked about this in a few interviews.
Yeah.
You know, some of his songs that ain't talking about God at all, Jesus not religious, but, you know, like, I've got a woman, way over town, that's good to me. That's church, you know what I mean? When you hear an R&B singer wailing on these runs and these riffs and stuff, that's church. When you think of these background vocals that are big and full, like within a Brandy album, or when you think of Whitney Houston, Beyonce's backgrounds, church, you know? Because the church is where harmonies come from. You know, it's where authentic music comes from. I try to think about that before I said it, but it's just real. That's the origins of music coming from the heart, because you're talking about something, you know, if you're in the church, that's very special to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stand by that statement. Yes, God.
Now, let's just talk about how you got to this point, because I feel like sometimes people only recognize the highlights. They only recognize what you're known for. Can you just share your struggle and how you got to LA? And I know you're you know, South Carolina, that's your roots, but just tell me a little bit about your upbringing and how you got to this point.
That's a long one. Let's make a short version.
You can make a short, whatever you.
You know, some people know this, but before starting a YouTube channel, I started this channel in late 2017, roughly. We really didn't get started until 2018, but in 2017, I quit my job as a casting director. I was a casting director here in LA and a TV producer for reality TV. And I did that as soon as I got to LA, and I went to film school as well, so that kind of helped out. But I realized that was not the calling. I hated it. Casting, oh God. For reality TV, oh Blair, baby, no. It's just a mess, okay? You gotta think, like, let's say one of the shows I casted for, I don't even want to call it a show. Let's just say reality casting is finding, you know, everyday people and trying to turn them into reality stars. And that's not very fun. It sounds much more fun than it is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I was on the street with flyers, trying to, you know, because when a show was like, hey, I need 20 chefs for this thing, and they can't be professional chefs. Well, bitch, where am I find these damn chefs? They're not professional. So you got to go in the restaurants. You got to, you know, say, hey, I'm a TV producer. And you want to be on a TV show? Oh, I got hung up on. I got slapped. I got a bunch of things. So it was not my calling, but it taught me several things. It taught me how to talk to strangers. I always say that I don't think this show would be possible if I did not, you know, spend so many years cold calling companies trying to find people to do reality TV shows, you know, and interviewing them. You know, with casting, half of the job is an interview. You're trying to get to know somebody. You're trying to see what they can do. And I did not know this, but the whole time God was honing skills that I would need to do the Terrell Show. So yeah, but you know, in living in LA in general, when you first move out and sometimes much later, is difficult in and of itself. It's expensive. I didn't have no money when I moved here. I moved here from Orlando, Florida with $300 in my pocket.
Wow.
To Los Angeles, California. $300 doesn't get you nothing but a hot dog and a stick.
Period.
But we made it.
You made it.
We made it.
You definitely did. I'm so proud of you. Let's just talk
baby.
a little. I want to ask you, because you've interviewed so many people. Who is someone that you would just love to have on the show that people really probably wouldn't expect? Who would you love to have as a guest?
Ooh.
I know it's very broad, but I feel like deep down there's someone that you haven't had yet that you would just love to.
Okay, this is going to be a little controversial.
Okay.
A little bit, Blair, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I'm going to say it right here on your show.
I'm nervous.
Okay? Chrisette Michele, right?
Okay.
I'm going to say that. And let me tell you why. Number one, she's talented as F. Nobody's going to take that away from her, okay? Chrisette Michele is very talented, and she can sing her butt off, and she has hits, okay? And I think with what happened with her and the public perception of her in 2016 when she sang at
so-and-so's rally.
Mister's inauguration. Yes, Jesus. When she
We
did the thing. We don't, can't do it. You know, she got a lot of backlash for that. And I was sitting down recently, actually, and I was just thinking to myself, I want to have a conversation with her about everything like I do with every artist. But I do want to talk to her about that and how that decision was made, the aftermath of it, what she thinks about that decision now. But I also want to get into how she was, I don't believe it was all the way fair how she was treated. As we look back,
I think she did it out of, I could totally see what you're saying 100%. I think that she did it because she thought it was going to reunite everything. And she has since said like that's her biggest regret. It just didn't work in her favor because, you know, it's the cancel culture that, you know, what's going on right now.
Yes.
But I love that. But that's why people love you. You are willing to give people you have an open door for anyone, even if someone's misunderstood. I think that's why people really vibe with you though.
Yes. And that's important. I think conversations, especially now, we're in some very interesting times. We have been for a few years. And I think it's important for us to have a conversation, though we may not agree. She may come on my show and say something that I don't have any type of agreement with.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
What is a world in which we all agree on everything? And I'm glad you asked that question, because I would love, Chrisette, hello, if you're watching, come through, because that's what the show is all about. It's about, especially, you know, you're a Black woman, okay? We support and we uplift our Black women, and everybody's not perfect. That doesn't mean you're not talented and do not deserve your snaps, okay? Mm-hmm. So yes.
I love that. I really, really, really do. Let's talk about season 4, because you kicked it off. For one, I'm not going to bring up the actual episodes. The pre-show in general, you took everyone's breath away. For one, your voice, your music career in itself, like something's going to happen for you. I don't know, but I'm just going to speak it into existence. I see a Grammy or something in your future. Tell me about the pre-show, because you featured your music, which I want you to talk about, your EP, please.
Yes, thank you, Blair. Oh my God, you're so amazing. I appreciate you. That was such an experience for me. It happened very quickly, I will say, because in most things I do happen very quickly because I'm spontaneous as an F. Like when I have that idea, Blair, it's gotta happen. Like I think on a Wednesday, I woke up, Carl Rocks. I was like, I want to do a live version of the album. Let's figure that out, okay? And let's do it tomorrow, okay? Because I need it. And that's kind of like what happened. It all got put together in a matter of a couple of days. And hearing, first of all, you know I love music. Music is my whole entire life. Hearing for the first time music that I wrote, music that came from my brain. Hearing it played with the band, with singers, live, it was an out-of-body experience. And it was an even bigger out-of-body experience to see the fans and the supporters go crazy over it. Because I still say to this day, I'm not a musician, you know, I'm not an artist. I just really like music and I like creating stuff. And those are such big words as well, like an artist, a musician.
Yeah.
I know people think of me as that, but I respect those titles so much. I'm like, one day, but right now I'm still playing around. I'm still figuring out, I'm still learning, you know? So to hear everybody, my phone was blowing up when that pre-show was going from artists, you know, not just from supporters or like, just like, whoa, when did you do this? Like, oh, I want my stuff to sound like that. And I'm like, really? Holy shit, that's crazy. So it was such a blessing and everybody came together so quickly. Like I said, you know, I only had a few days to get that together. We did that like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, to have that mix and the video edited and all that stuff before and in time for this was insane. And everybody was just so gung-ho about it and they were happy. Blair, that was one of the best days. Yes.
I could tell based on your posts. And I just had a feeling though too, that I felt like that was really like you being creative 100%. And you're just really yourself, not only in the video, obviously, but in the music and sharing that because I don't know. I'm sure that sometimes when you're doing a show with other musicians, you might feel like, I don't know if this sounds right. You might be critical of your own self. So I just want to say you sound amazing. And the album though, like you said, it was an experiment. It was, and it's something that worked out.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I poured my whole heart and soul into it, but it would be nothing without the dozens of people who was behind it. I mean, it's like Blair, that project had so much love on it. We didn't have any money. There was no budget. What? There was no, everybody who came through, we had to, you know, things we had to pay for, we paid for. But in terms of some of the things that a normal album would need to pay for, we got just based on love from people, from companies, from studios. They were like, Terrell, whatever you need, just come through. Don't worry about it. We believe in you and what you're trying to do and your show. And I really do think God has blessed my entire team because our hearts are really in it. We don't really talk about money like that. You know, of course, the show is on YouTube.
It's in the right place. It really is. For that, I feel like that should, people really need to take that in, is that you did, because of the good heart of other people, you were able to do this project that sounds A1. So that's huge. I'm so happy that you felt comfortable telling me that, because that in itself, that's how honest you are and transparent with your fans and your viewers. So I hope you know that that's why you have so much support too, because that album right there, it was R&B gold. I'm just like, I was waiting. I'm like, hey, why are people really not like, come on, like y'all need to be getting on this, because this should be playing at the cookouts. This should be playing at Black Lives Matter protests, because this is just soulful. Just so you know, I had to just put it in there. So you kicked off season 4, obviously, with your amazing pre-show, which featured the album Invitation to the Cookout, which y'all need to go listen to right now if you have Apple Music, Spotify. But you kicked it off with Ryan Destiny, first of all, and then Zach Campbell. Tell me about the premiere.
Woo! I was up all night editing. That's the first thing I think about. I said, I done put these times out, girl. They are expecting these things at this time. I got to be on it. So I did not sleep. I think, so Thursday, so I slept Tuesday night. That was the last time I slept before I slept after the episodes came out. Yes. Because I know it may look simple. Them edits are extensive, Blair. There's a lot going on. Okay, there's all these things popping up and the music and the shots. I very much so was on my 4th Red Bull by the time I finished. But I'm so glad they came out the way they did it. They were so fun. Ryan Destiny is probably one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my entire life. I could say that very easily. She came with her mom, and just, I could tell together they have big hearts as well. Yeah. And they love investing their time into things that make them feel good. And they also, I feel like I don't get the vibe of, I'm just trying to be famous on this stuff. She is truly talented. and I'm rooting for her. Who is not rooting for Ryan Destiny, Blair? I mean, come on.
No,
everybody.
She was a quadruple threat. I felt that.
Yes.
I mean, it's a Michigan thing. Us Michigan people, we're.
You too?
Yeah, I'm from Muskegon. I'm from the other side of the state, but she's from Detroit. So I'm on the west side. She's on the east side. But, it's still a Michigan thing.
Blair, listen. You, Ryan, Zach as well, and Matt, who's behind this camera, all of you, Michigan.
I didn't know Zach
is that right?
I didn't know Zach was from Michigan.
He's from Detroit. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
You kicked it off with some Michiganders from Detroit.
On purpose. I said, let me give Detroit some.
Shout out.
Okay, let's start the season.
Oh my gosh.
Start the season.
Well, now that the first episodes they kicked off for season 4, which I'm super excited for the rest of the season.
Yes.
When can we see the next episodes?
Every Thursday at let me just not give a time because I don't want to.
Don't give a time. Just say the day.
Again. Let's just say Thursday nights, okay? Every Thursday night there'll be a new episode of the show, and who knows what else you may see? Because listen, the inspiration behind the pre-show was we were going to go on tour for the album, but obviously we cannot do that under these circumstances. Yeah. So that's kind of like how that idea came together. We're like, we want to bring a live show vibe. Like, that's why we had little intermissions and the way it sounded. I wanted it to just sound as if it was a show. Don't be surprised if you see some other little things pop up. I always got something up my sleeve, Blair.
Yeah.
So just want to throw that out there. But Thursday nights, there'll always be something new.
Yes. Before I sign off, I just want to. You brought up, having to cancel the tour for COVID. How did it? What did you learn most about yourself during that whole time? Because I'm sure trying to figure out the seasons and trying to figure out what you're gonna do. Just tell me what you learned about yourself during quarantine and during this crazy time.
I learned that one, and I said this before. It is so important in these times to adapt and not abandon.
Ooh.
That, I keep seeing things completely disappear because maybe there isn't enough creativity going on or whatever the reason. But nobody should be abandoning their dreams or their goals because of these circumstances. No, baby, that's not, your gift is your gift. You got to find another way to use that gift because the safety of the public is of the utmost importance, but you can't let that get in the way of your destiny and your job and what you got to do. You got to make some shit shake, okay? We are not going to be defeated. This ain't nothing but the devil anyway, okay?
Oh.
This whole thing ain't nothing but the devil anyway. Mm-hmm. Just like any other thing the devil comes and tries to take, and you block it, you block this too, and you figure that thing out, okay? So I learned to do that better for myself. I'm really preaching to myself because I had to do that, Yeah. Because I was mad as hell. I'm like, oh, man, we were about to go out here and cut up. Not what we supposed to do, And I feel like a lot of artists and just people in general was just upset because they had things lined up, And yeah, I think we just got to learn. And again, saying to myself, how can we still do what we are destined to do and be safe at the same time? And giving up is not the answer.
You know what? I have to end the interview at that point because there's really nothing to say. You said that lined up, and God has something lined up in store for you, Terrell. Where can people find you on social media for one?
Yes, everything is Terrell Grice, TerrellGrice on everything. The Terrell Show on YouTube. I'm so excited for this upcoming season. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a little different. One more little honest tidbit for you.
Yes.
This is the 4th season, and I think this is the first season where I feel like, wow, this is really, how can I say this? I'm very slow with myself and giving myself props, okay? And I've always been that way. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until starting to film this season where I'm like, you know what? We are doing the damn thing. And that took me a very long time to say, because I'm very, you can call it humble or whatever, but honestly, I'm just a realist. And I'm like, this could go away in a second, you know? And I just was always focused on, let's just do a good job. I don't focus on the noise or whatever's going on. I just want to do a good job. But you know what? We are making this happen in 2020, which is full of the shits. I'm going to give my damn self a pat on the back, B, okay? Hello. The season 4 of the Terrell Show is here, bitch. Watch it.
Talk your shit. You deserve it. You deserve it. You guys follow Terrell. Make sure you guys watch new episodes every Thursday. And please listen to the album An Invitation to the Cookout. You will not be disappointed. It is pure gold. If you love R&B, pop, listen, it doesn't matter about genres. Terrell has you covered. Terrell, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Got you. Thank you, Blair. I love you. Congratulations on all of your new ventures and your show. I wish you nothing but the best because you're so talented as well. Don't you forget it.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you so much.